Exactly.
Okay, let's bring in our first guest. Right now it's 3-love lead for Garabelli in the second set. Now 3-all, 30-all. Now he's got a break chance for 4 straight games. Our first guest is one of 2 players in the history of the game to face Rafael Nadal multiple times and hold an undefeated record against him. Played such a fun brand of tennis, like Nick said. Let's bring in Dustin Brown to our show. There he is. Dustin, it's nice to meet you. Sorry you had to listen to all that. You got myself, Tracy, Jimmy, and Nick. Thank you for staying up late. How's everything going? How's life?
I'm fine. It's actually only 8:30, not 10:30 like Nick said, so it's not that late yet.
Dustin, dude, thanks for joining us, man. When I texted you, I know we were trying to get in touch over the last couple of weeks to get you on. Pumped to have you on. Look, we have so many questions asked, but I will start just with the beginning, man. How did you get started in tennis? I know you grew up in Germany, then you moved to Jamaica, then back to Germany, but how did your tennis journey even begin?
Well, I started playing tennis because I was doing a lot of sports when I was young, judo, swimming. I think everything just from my parents kind of like to get me tired for the evening. And we actually grew up next to a tennis court. And the coach there was also Jamaican, and I was friends with my family. And I was like, okay, I would like to play tennis. And then with 5, I started doing that also. And in the evening, I think my parents were just driving me from one event to another, you know, swimming, then judo, then tennis, then soccer. And at the end, yeah, we stuck with tennis.
Dustin, I want to go straight to the match that I remember, and so you know what I'm going to be talking about, right? So many of us were watching. We'd find a television at Wimbledon because you've got Rafa on center court, but you came up with the magic. What was the moment like? You had beaten Rafa the year before at Halle, which is also on grass, so I'm sure that you had a specific strategy. What was the strategy? What was it like just eating up that Wimbledon vibe out there, that Wimbledon atmosphere?
Well, I think the biggest thing was, which helped a lot, is that I played him in Halle. So I kind of knew what kind of ball was coming. I didn't, in the mind, have to deal as much with him and his tennis, but more with the center court and the surroundings. And the plan was to do the same thing like in Halle. I was a little worried because, you know, best of 5 sets, Wimbledon center court slower. Halle can be, especially in the beginning, a little bit more slippery. He came straight from Paris. He had no preparation. And I think Halle was, you know, for me, a better suited match than maybe the one in Wimbledon. And yeah, I'm happy that I pulled it off, you know, and kept everything together. And what's the point of rallying with him from the baseline?
So you came to the net all the time, right? Was that the key?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And
yes,
drop
and
shots,
also
variety.
What my coach said at the time is, you're up 2 points, you're hitting 2 first serves. You're not going to make many points hitting baseline rallies and hitting second serves. So 30-love, 40-15, 2 first serves. And, you know, as I said, like statistically for me, I think people always think I have no clue what I'm doing. But on a good day, I would serve anywhere between 60 and 65% first serves. And if the first one went in, I would make mostly over 90%, especially on grass. So it was a no-brainer. And I think a lot of times when you go on a second serve, you're barely scratching 50%, especially against someone like Rafa.
Was the serve and volley, Dustin, a strategy just for Rafa, or were you always utilizing that? Because it's sort of a lost art today, and you did it really, really well when you did it.
My first coach, Kim Wittenberg, is actually from America, and he was learning from Vic Braden. So I learned the good old tennis, serve and volley, chip and charge, and I think I was probably hitting volleys before I was be able to even put 3 balls in from the baseline. So,
is there a reason why? Can you figure out why Rafa Nadal did so well, since you seem to have absolutely no trouble with him? Like, what was? Why were you having such an easy time and the rest of the world wasn't, do you think?
Well, definitely not an easy time. I said it's two very good days at the office because you can, you know, playing other tournaments. I think Opelka said it playing Djokovic the other day. You have no pressure. You go out there, you play your game. If I play that same game on court 25 at a random challenger, you know, no one hears about it, no matter if I win or lose. And then on that stage, obviously the pressure is on his side. I can play freely. And if I lose 1-1 and 2, then I'm just another guy that lost to Nadal. So it makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, so you have a baby daughter, I understand. Life has changed completely.
Yes.
What's that like?
Yes,
and if Naomi wanted to play professional tennis, would you say yes, or would you steer her towards another sport?
Well, first of all, best feeling in the world. I always tried to, thinking about it, I always wanted to be home, and I'm very happy that, timing-wise for me was perfect to, finish playing my career and now being able to be home. One of the greatest days. Here we're leaving the hospital. Greatest victory to say, and to have her now, and you're getting used to all the new stuff. It's only been roughly 2 weeks, so. I'm happy. And with tennis, definitely putting the racket in her left hand if she decides to play tennis. Everything else we're going to have to see.
Wow, forcing like a lefty. It's like Rafa style. We're always talking about tension, equipment. We're going to have one of the stringers from Miami in a little bit. Break back from Carabelli. Sorry, 4-all on serve. But your game was like, you would pound returns, super loose, you'd crush them flat, but then, of course, you had the drop volley, you had the blue Babolat. What did you string your racket up? Because sometimes you're blasting, but then, of course, you had the great feel and touch.
I'm not sure what it is in pounds. It's way over 70, but
I got you.
At the end, when I stopped,
pounds.
I was stringing at 36 kilos now at the end of my career.
79
I think
peeps. Wow.
Yeah, and I think when I was playing the blue Babolat, the highest I've actually gone, depending on where what tournament I was on and what stringer, some of the machines strung differently. I think the highest I might have been is 38 kilos on the blue Babolat.
Wow, that's crazy.
How was your arm?
I didn't realize that.
84. Nick, that's 84.
Your poor arm.
I thought, Dustin, you had a looser string because you were hitting the ball so hard.
No.
I mean, every time we practiced, the ball was coming so quick, but I guess you were so loose. But, Dustin, we got to talk about your camper. You used to travel in a camper van going to futures, challengers, and I think slept in it, maybe strung rackets for players. Maybe talk about when you got the camper, how long you had it to just be able to survive out there on the tour.
Well, after coming out of juniors, we had futures in Jamaica. They were organized by Richard Russell, who sadly passed not too long ago. But he was the one that organized those futures for his sons. And I was lucky enough to be in Jamaica at the time and started playing futures. And when the futures ended, then we were like, okay, where am I going to play? How my parents going to pay for this? Because they did not have a lot of money. And my mom actually had the idea of the caravan and the camper. And that was, losing first round of the future, I think back then was $117.50 US. And that was basically enough money to put a gas into the camper and go to the next tournament. I would have guys randomly stay with me, give me a couple bucks here and there, and I was stringing rackets for other players. I think the local stringer was normally taking 10 euros and I took 5 euros, so everyone came to me because it was just cheaper. And it was a great time because, at that time still, I think I was playing against guys. Guys were still bringing me the rackets in the evening. There was never any idea of, the guy's going to manipulate my racket or anything like that. Different times, but it's what got me here.
Talk a little bit.
How long did it take? How long did it take you to string a racket? Because some of these stringers, they string it's 15 minutes. So if guys are always bringing you rackets to string at night, how many hours were you stringing at night?
A lot. My machine definitely didn't look as good as those machines at those slams or at the big ATP. So I think good half an hour per racket.
Yeah.
Oh. If you're watching a movie, maybe 45.
An hourly rate.
Dustin, I think your last tournament was November you played some doubles, right? Last year you ran fourth round of Wimbledon. It's always difficult, I think, for an athlete once you first have retired to figure out the rest of your life. You've got a long way to live still. And what are you doing now? What are your thoughts?
Well, first of all, I was very happy that I, after my injury in 23, where I thought that might have been my last match, I'm very happy that I got to play a few tournaments in 24. And at the end, when I ended up getting a wild card, I called a good friend of mine, Evan King. And, he came over and we played in Metz, and it ended up being my last tournament. And at the time, obviously, I knew that we were expecting a daughter, and that's also the reason why we didn't try to make it to Australia, because that would have been too close. And also, we were about to give birth, so I better get my wife. And I'm happy. Like, I had a really long career, and I think because of many of the injuries in the previous years and also COVID, it kind of helped me to get used to the times of what happens after tennis. I was injured for 6 months in 2019. I didn't play for 6 months in 9 months we didn't play in 2020. Then in 2023, I was injured again for 6 months. So it was a slow, gradual step. It's not like playing the entire time and then just cut off and no more tennis.
Brandon Holt got the break in the 9th game. He's going to serve out the match in a little bit at 5-4. Whenever we have a first-time guest on the show, we like to ask this, but is there anything you'd like to see change or experiment in the game of pro tennis? It could be a small, silly thing, or it could be like a big-picture thought.
Well, I think that's the same thing as I've been, saying when I was still playing. I think it would be fun just to have the courts a little bit faster. Not everything exactly the same, not the balls exactly the same. At the end of the day, no matter what surface you're looking at, everyone plays exactly the same. So I think grass should be grass, clay can be clay, and the hard courts, especially outdoor ones at events like this, it could be a little faster. And even in the previous years, if you looked at Wimbledon, most of the guys, even the big lefties, Feliciano Lopez, Misha Zverev, everyone stopped even playing serve and volley and playing serve +1 just because everything got slower. Not 100% sure if it's the courts or if it's the balls or a mixture of both, but I think that would bring a lot more variety. And I think people or all the players are practicing and training stuff that works on the courts that they have now and the balls. So that's why a lot of people just don't go to the net, because everything's just a lot slower.
Dustin, I read that one of your idols, maybe your main idol, was Marat Safin. Is that true? And if so, why?
Yes.
And who else did you look up to?
Growing up, it was Yannick Noah, Marat Safin, and Andre Agassi. I think they were all great tennis players, but they, had their own side and, being very expressing on the court. And, just loved the outgoingness and still being unbelievable in their sport. And, just loved them. Andre's clothes. I think when I was young, my parents had to buy me all those Nike kits with the jeans Nike shorts and the compression shorts underneath. And, great stuff.
Well, Dustin, I think people, they watch your career and they see you beating Rafa at Wimbledon, or they see you winning another match at a different Grand Slam. For me, what was the biggest turning point in your career where you felt like, I belong at the top of the game. I'm ready to play with these guys. Was there a certain moment that happened for you where you knew it was your time?
I don't know if I would say it was a specific time. I think it over the years to accept my game. The strengths, the weaknesses, and any of the guys that were in the top that I beat is not because I got them out of their comfort zone. I forced them to play my tennis. Doesn't make a difference if it was Isner and Houston on clay or Rafa on grass or, even on hard courts. I just tried to play my game. And I also had to accept that there's going to be days where balls are just going to be flying all over the place. But then some days, more towards the end, the balls were going in more. And also just to forgive the mistakes where someone's like, okay, it's break point. Why can't the guy just try and put the ball in? But for example, after beating Rafa, I lost to Kohlschreiber 18-16 in the third set tiebreak. And I even watched that the other day on YouTube, and even I was thinking, my God, just put the return in. But at that point, if I would have just done that the entire time, I probably wouldn't have gotten to the third set against him. And I think accepting that and my type of game helped me a lot.
Dustin, it's such a treat to get players on the show. We know it's late. Thank you for calling in as we relive all those great moments to get all the insight. Appreciate it.
Great talking to you, Dustin.
Good luck, Dustin.
Thank you.
Dustin, you're the man.
You
Thanks for joining, dude.
Enjoy.
Appreciate it, man.
Thanks
a
Nick.
lot.